show you quickly how to service the fill valve on BSAs. If you start getting air leaking out of your fill valve when you've been filling, it's quite often because there's some dirt caught in the O-ring. I'll show you how to do that now. Obviously you need to make sure that the rifle is not loaded and has been drained down. You can do that by dry firing until it's empty. If you've got one of the newer models with a pressure gauge on it, you can slacken the pressure gauge off about a turn until you start hearing the air hissing, then stop, allow it to finish draining down, then loosen it a bit more just to make sure that it's all out, and then proceed to the next step. There is a little lock ring in these, so what often helps is that if you put something in the fill port, tighten it about quarter turn, then that loosens off the lock ring, which you can undo with a little pointy tool. It just winds out. There we go. And then put something in and just loosen that off. If this is very stiff, then there's a chance that there's still air in your air cylinder and you need to drain it down, otherwise you risk damaging yourself. It should get pretty easy to remove. There we go, that's the fill port. Right, it's always easier if you put something in the fill port and then you want an Allen key. I can't remember what size this is. It's quite a big one. It's a 6mm. Right, that goes in there and you undo that. There you go. Then tap out. There's a spring, there's a little sleeve, and then there's a ball, and there's a little O-ring inside here as well. The O-ring you might have to dig out, as it doesn't always come out when you bang it on something. Just be careful that when you do dig it out that you don't damage the valve body. Right, there we go, that's the O-ring. Right, this O-ring, well, you can, I don't know if you can see on this one, but there's some damage there, which is probably why it's been leaking. So you want to get a new O-ring, which I sell in my e-shop. Right, you can put a bit of something like a BSA 50 on the O-ring. I will also say now's a good time to clean it out, make sure there's no dirt or bits of O-ring or rubbish in there. Drop the new O-ring in, push it all the way down. Then your little brass sleeve, make sure it's nice and clean. That drops in. Then the ball drops in. Spring, again make sure there's no bits of O-ring or rubbish caught in it. That drops in. Then this goes back on. Make sure that's reasonably tight. Then that screws back in. It should be pretty free until the O-ring, it's just stiffened up there. That's where the O-ring is about to go into the actual cylinder itself. So you want to give it at least another turn, then pop that back in and tighten it up. Now a tip here is before you start putting air in, take your cap and make sure that the cap screws on all the way. I don't know if you're able to see this, but there's a small gap in there. It's because I haven't screwed the probe in the port in far enough. So I'll give that another half a turn. that up a bit. Try the cap again. There we go. Right, and obviously this doesn't have a barrel fitted to it at the moment. There's no action fitted. But if your barrel was, say, here, normally you would want your fill port facing down. But again, it's up to personal preference. If you fill with your gun on its side, you may find that it's easier if you put the port that way round, or the other way, or whichever. But whatever, you can adjust that to where you need it, and then just nip that little lock ring up, and then fill as usual, check for leaks, and off you go.